There are many ways to reduce CO2 emissions for freight transport, and one of the most successful programs to do so is the Environmental Protection Agency's voluntary SmartWay program. In fact, MIT's International Center for Transportation Logistics calls SmartWay the gold standard for freight carbon tools. Here's the SmartWay logo. The program was designed to encourage businesses to improve their transportation logistics in an environmentally responsible way. It was founded in 2004 with the support of 15 charter members and the backing of the American Trucking Association. But before we proceed, I want to get some terminology correct. There are some terms that SmartWay uses for their shippers, their carriers, and also for their logistic providers. The shippers are the cargo owners. They include manufacturers such as Bacardi Rum and retailers such as Walmart or Kroger, the supermarket chain. Carriers are the transportation companies that move the products around. They include organizations like Federal Express and CXS Transportation for trains. Logistic providers, or here it says 3PL, which stands for third-party logistics, handle a lot of planning and coordination activities. So for example, they might be involved with warehousing or cross-docking, inventory management. And then the 4PLs, which are logistic providers and consultants, really are looking broader at the supply chain. One example of a logistic provider in the food industry is Transplace, which arranges transportation for many food manufacturer clients such as Diamond Foods, Del Monte, and Welch's. This graphic gives you a quick look at SmartWay program dynamics. In the upper left, we have shippers, who are at the top of the SmartWay food chain. These organizations respond to shareholder, customer, and business partner demands for carbon accountability. To do so, they need to find fuel-efficient carriers and figure out ways to make their whole transportation supply chain, inbound and outbound, more efficient. SmartWay helps shippers choose the most efficient modes of carriers, which results in lower overall costs, greater system stability, and emission savings. Carriers are the meat and potatoes of SmartWay. They want to save money and earn shippers' business. EPA teaches carriers how to save fuel, and since fuel costs are second only to personnel costs, stabilizing and trimming fuel spends can allow companies, both large and small, to succeed. Finally, logistic partners help shipper clients reduce emissions by designing the right mix of fuel-efficient and cost-effective modes and carriers. They develop and match their carrier base to shippers' needs and can spur greater efficiency among carriers with their view of the entire transportation supply chain. Another way to understand the SmartWay program is by looking at its different components. These include measurement and tracking tools, a technology verification aspect, a recognition program, and educational resources. The SmartWay program is also designed to support continuous improvement. To become a partner and use the SmartWay logo, companies submit their fuel efficiency benchmark. From this benchmark, they track their progress and compare their fuel efficiency with their peers. Partners report their progress each year and compete for annual awards based on their own and the industry benchmarks. Here are some of the program results since 2004. Currently, there's 3,200 partners and 250 affiliates. The program represents 22% of truck miles in the U.S. and has reduced 73 million metric tons of CO2. I'd like to also point out that there are these other environmental benefits, 1.5 million tons of nitrogen oxides that are reduced and 60,000 tons of PM or particulate matter. The results also are 7 billion gallons of fuel saved and $25 billion in fuel costs avoided. Not bad. One of the reasons why SmartWay has been successful is that its measurement tools were designed to cover all kinds of carriers that move freight for shippers. These include truck, rail, barge, air, etc. Here's just some of the info a truck carrier enters into its SmartWay account. In addition, truck carriers are broken out into 9 operational categories, for example, for refrigerated trucks. And these categories enable shippers to compare apples to apples, so they can choose carriers with the best scores for each type of cargo and delivery method. And these really are the variables that matter in determining the carrier's efficiency and emissions profile. Shippers also plug information into the SmartWay data tools. This includes basic information about their standard industrial classification or the types of cargo they intend to ship in terms of ton miles or the payload or the density. And once this information is in, they can crank out a number that shows their overall score in terms of CO2 emissions. I also want to point out that SmartWay is really part of a larger sustainable food logistics movement. Consumers, nonprofits, governments, and leading businesses are all asking for more sustainable and economic and socially responsible food products, and consequently, sustainable food logistic management is a new focus within the field of supply chain management that includes transportation, as well as infrastructure management. This would be with distribution centers, warehouses, and retail space. The purpose of all this is really to reduce emissions and waste, be it fuel and energy waste or waste from spoilage of products or excess material and packaging or items that otherwise could be recycled. But the goal of sustainable food management is difficult because of these trends that we've discussed. For example, the demand for seasonal products, which really leads to longer trips and more refrigeration. The increasing product diversity, which leads to more frequent deliveries, and more ready-to-eat food, which just creates more perishable food in the food system. Despite these challenges, SmartWay can really help move the needle forward with its program tools and staff, and also its collaboration with other organizations such as with the Massachusetts Institute for Technology or the Environmental Defense Fund. So to reduce miles, a shipper can change its distribution center locations, or it can optimize its routes. Carriers can reduce the weight of their loads by engaging in load optimization, ensuring that the shipments are full loads or that they share their loads with other organizations to make sure they have full loads. They can also do this by filling with backhauling, taking recyclables and other products back to the distribution center. And they can, of course, alter their products and packaging and their pallets to reduce weight. Logistics can also reduce the time that a carrier is on the road by ensuring that they're not waiting at a facility if the gate's not open, or they're waiting for certifications and other sorts of approvals. So these practices ensure that carriers are operating in the correct window of time that allows them to be efficient. And of course, there are a lot of practices to improve energy management. They include the monitoring of temperature. Sometimes this can be done remotely. It's also possible to segregate cargo by temperature and to right-size trucks and to use onboard idle reduction technologies, all which help to reduce energy usage. So here's a case study that shows how to save costs and reduce CO2 emissions. Two beverage manufacturers, Tropicana and Ocean Spray, collaborated to shift their transportation from truck to refrigerated rail transport. Because Tropicana was sending its products north and Ocean Spray was sending its products south, they were able to work together to make sure that the rail cars were full on both legs of the journey. In doing so, they optimized the freight load on both legs of the journey. They also were able to share transportation costs. And in addition to this, they also included optimization of their distribution location, the distribution center location for both their rail and their truck. They fine-tuned pickup and delivery and load dimensions, and it was a very successful project. The outcome was a 40% cost savings and a 65% reduction in CO2 emissions. Not bad. SmartWay also provides technology verification that looks at specific technology improvements that can be made. And as this chart shows, you can see that the number one area of energy loss is with the engines. And here we can see that with interstate energy losses between 58 and 59%. Coming at number two is the aerodynamic losses for interstate highway travel. It's 15 to 22%. And at number three, it's the rolling resistance, mainly on interstate highways too, between 13 and 16% of energy is lost through this inefficiency. SmartWay's technology program verifies the performance of a variety of technologies that can help truck carriers save fuel and money. A rig with all the bells and whistles can be as much as 20% more efficient. This would include the use of hybrid powertrain systems, especially for urban operating trucks, and aerodynamic features, which include wind deflectors on the top, on the sides and rears of trucks to reduce aerodynamic drag. There's also ways to reduce rolling resistance for tires. So there's fuel efficient tires and tire inflation systems that reduce rolling resistance. And also idle reduction equipment to power and cool the cab while the truck is not in motion. This allows for the engine to be shut off and to save gasoline that way. So if a truck or trailer is fitted out with all the SmartWay basic technologies, it can be sold as a SmartWay designated model, and it can display the SmartWay logo. The SmartWay program also encourages its partners to strut their stuff, and it also recognizes their excellent performance. All partners in good standing can use the SmartWay brand logo. Many use it on their websites, reports, and presentations, and on their promotional material. And some partners are also invited to speak on webinars and to develop profiles of their SmartWay efforts, including case studies. In addition, top-performing partners within each category compete for annual awards, which are announced at major industrial events and to the media. In my experience, these awards are very well covered in the trade media and really help to instill a healthy sense of competition in the industry. I want to conclude by saying that the food and beverage and grocery partners are a key sector for the SmartWay program. This is because of their large number of ton miles traveled every year. It's estimated that they have over 300 million ton miles traveled per year. This was from a 2012 report. But it's also because of their high consumer visibility. They know that customers are watching their brands, and this makes them highly motivated to participate in the program and achieve results that may even go beyond their cost savings. So to learn more about the SmartWay program, go to www.epa.gov/SmartWay.